If you'd like to play with me, you'd better be sure you know the game.
G'day guys, how you going? I'm Fraze and it's time to step up your game. Today we're taking a look at your favourite nine-tailed fox, Ahri. We'll start with Ahri's passive, Essence Theft. With efficient use of your abilities in lane, it's possible for Essence Theft to activate every third cast. If you really need some health in lane, Foxfire is the most mana efficient way to stack up your passive. A safe way to get some stacks is to throw your Q over the wall at raptors. Keep in mind you heal for each enemy hit, so obviously hitting an entire wave with your Q is the most efficient way to use your passive. It's very easy to keep track of your passive, as Ahri's orb will glow green when it's active. Ahri's Q, Orb of Deception. It's important to learn the range of your Q, as hitting your enemy at the tip will ensure both instances of damage are applied. When learning the range, keep in mind the actual length of the ability is about an orb's length longer than the indicator shows. As you won't always manage to land your Q at the tip, make sure you learn to reposition the return route by moving, flashing, or using your ultimate. Keep in mind this is your scouting tool, as not only will it make a sound if it hits an enemy, but it will also grant you stacks of your passive. Be careful when harassing with your Q as it clears minions very quickly, so keep an eye on how pushed your lane is. However, you can use this pushing potential to your advantage when you're ready to start roaming. When using your Q for bonus mobility, try casting it behind you for maximum efficiency. Orb of Deception is an ideal tool to break spell shields, as only the first pass through will be absorbed. Ahri's W, Foxfire. Each fire has an independent range. A good rule of thumb is if you're in auto attack range, all your fires will be in range as well. Remember, they prioritize champions. This can make for very easy harass in lane. As this ability is instant cast, there's no reason you shouldn't use it on cooldown during a fight. The fires will only be launched at enemies that are in vision at the time, so if your enemy runs into a nearby brush, be ready to drop a ward. Each Foxfire is considered a single spell, meaning each bolt will break a spell shield, apply a full slow from Ryle's, and proc full spell vamp. Ahri's E, Charm. This is your setup ability. Most of the time if this doesn't land, the best thing to do is simply retreat. If your team is short on CC, you'll definitely want to max this second, as it increases the duration of the charm. Late game, this ability can be pivotal to success. Unless you can guarantee a great pick with it, it's best to save it to peel for your team. Sometimes the mere threat of your charm can be more powerful than the charm itself. Try running your opponent as if you're about to cast charm, but instead, simply cast Foxfire and start auto-attacking as they try to preemptively dodge your charm. An important mechanic to learn is the charm flash. If you flash during the cast animation of charm, it will be launched from your new location, giving your opponent less time to react. It's worth noting you can actually do this with your Q as well, however it's not usually worth it. Ahri's ultimate, Spirit Rush. To be an effective Ahri player, you will need to be able to use this ability to its full potential. This means being able to gain positional value at the same time as dealing damage with it. Although Spirit Rush can be used defensively, it's a much better idea to use it offensively to gain an advantage. This ability is one of the most powerful ganking tools in the game. As soon as you hit level 6, you should generally start pushing in your lane and look to roam. Keep in mind you have 10 seconds to use the remaining 2 charges. Don't feel rushed to use these for damage, instead save them until you really need them. You can use Spirit Rush to clear most walls on the Rift, however it is considered a dash and not a blink ability, so you won't be able to make it over the larger walls. Similar to Foxfire, the energy bolts will only fire at enemies in vision at the end of the cast. This makes it a good idea to not fight too close to the brushes, or be ready to quickly throw down a ward. Keep in mind, Spirit Rush actually has no minimum cast distance, so if you don't want any positional value from the dash, simply cast it on yourself. I strongly suggest trying out Luden's Echo, as each cast and each dash contribute stacks to the item, charging it up very quickly. Effective ability combos. When choosing what combos to use during a fight, keep in mind Ahri's strength is that she can Spirit Rush around long enough to use multiple combos. Ahri is another one of those champions who have a ridiculous amount of possible ability combos, as such I'll just cover the basics. Your typical combo is to cast Charm straight into your Q, then follow up with a Foxfire and a few auto attacks. Your typical combo including your ultimate starts off with Foxfire, then casting your ultimate into a Charm Q combo, then using leftover ultimate charges to reposition and auto attack your enemy. As with most champions, learning to smoothly thread in auto attacks during your combos will greatly increase your chances of picking up kills. Keep in mind your AoE damage is actually pretty insane. It can often be better to look for optimal AoE damage instead of just trying to assassinate a single target. And of course, like most assassins, you really need to be able to pull off combos very quickly, and as such I strongly suggest trying out Smartcast. So that's it for Ahri. Leave a comment of which champion you'd like to see in my next guide. Be sure to subscribe to help step up your game, and click here to check out some of my previous guides. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and learned something new. Have a good one. Cheers.